Hey guys, Carlos from Spark again. And one of the important things we want to get people to understand is how important that warm-up is and some of the different mobility that's required for jiu-jitsu. So this is going to be about hip mobility. Some of this we can do between training sessions or directly after your dynamic warm-up is done. So let's get these hips moving. The first little mobility drill is what we call our quadruped hip series. And so it's going to be on hands and knees. Very important setup at the hands are underneath the shoulders. They're not too wide. They're not in front of me. My hands are also in line with my knees, so my knees aren't super narrow, and they're also not very wide. Okay, nice flat tabletop position. Notice the eye of my elbow is rotated forward, so I'm actually engaging some of these shoulder muscles. So you actually may feel this in the shoulders. So from here, the first movement is going to be that hip abduction. I'm going to try and keep my belly button and my nose pointing straight to the ground, and I'm going to raise that hip to the side as far as possible. I'm not going to touch. I'm just going to come back down. Okay? I might do 5 or 6 of these. Then we're going to go in a big circle clockwise, scrubbing that hip joint, getting that femur to touch all the parts of my hip, okay? And then I might do 5 or 6 in the other direction, maintaining that strong shoulder position. Lastly, that hip extension. My heel to the ceiling. I'm not arching my back. I'm just keeping it nice and still. My hands and knee are heavy, going straight back. So that's our quadruped hip series, 5 or 6 on each leg after your dynamic warm-up. So number 2 in our hip mobility do-it-yourself segment is our hip extension. And we're going to do this in a half kneeling position. Okay? So we're here. I can have a hips width stance. I don't have to be too narrow, making sure that that back foot is mostly in line. If I have a problem with balance here, I can actually externally rotate or just bring that foot across my body to provide more balance and support. For right now, we're going to be straight. And then what I want to do is I want to extend my hips, and then I want to reach up. The idea here, as you reach up, you're extending a little further into the hip on the right side, and I'm dropping down. If you feel a little restriction, you can actually extend and then pick a direction to side bend or to rotate. Side bend or to rotate. Real good for hip extension mobility, real good to get control on that front leg, as well as input for this hip so that it knows in space where it's located. So it's great for our balance as well. All right, guys, stretch number 3 for this hip series is our pigeon or our figure 4 stretch. This is probably something you're already doing, but I want to add a few tweaks that I have noticed training partners sort of get trouble with, and I think it limits the ability for this stretch to do its thing. So we're going to use the right hip on this in this case. I'm going to have that knee set up in the way that I see people kind of do it. That knee is way out to the outside, and what's going to happen is people focus on folding forward, but the muscles that we're trying to stretch in this case are muscles that push us out in this direction. So I need to bring that knee across. So I'm going to start by having that knee a little bit more forward. And then the goal of the stretch is not to fold down, but the goal of the stretch is to actually get to the other side of my knee. So I can use my shoulders. I can walk around. I can get lower once that knee is mostly on that side of my body. And I can get to that place where I find a little bit of tension. Okay, I come back off. I come a little bit around. I come a little lower. Maybe my elbow gets to the ground. That's fine. Okay, 2 or 3 reps. Each side, it's going to really augment the dynamic warm-up you're already doing and have you ready to roll anytime.